All right. It says we're live. I
All
can't
right.
tell.
Here, I'll look. I'll look on your channel, see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like someone's here. Kyle from DTOM says he's here. Sweet. Kyle, can you see us? When I look on here, it doesn't look like I'm live on my phone, but I don't know if I'm crazy. It says we're broadcasting. This is
All
our
right.
first time. Bear with us.
Kyle from DTOM.
Oh, yes.
says he's here.
It's just delayed. Okay, sweet. Well, Wes, good to see you, buddy. This is a little bit interesting. I'm seeing comments pouring in. Kyle says that he is first and that he's here. Justin EDC is here as well. What's up, guys?
How's it going, everyone?
So, for those of you who don't know Wes yet, this is Wes from the Pocket Perspective. And Wes and I just sent each other some loaners. I should probably pull this down a little bit. And we figured it would be fun if we unboxed them. Mine showed up to him yesterday. He was patient, waited, and his box showed up to me today. So we're going to bust them open together with everybody available to watch, which I think should be cool. JP Stone, yes, indeed, I am live. This is actually my first live. Patina Turner, what's up, dude? We still need to meet up and swap knives. I was just thinking about that earlier. I totally dropped the ball on that. Yeah, we got a lot of people coming in. Very cool, guys.
Cool.
So, Wes, tell the people real quick, since we're doing this on my channel, a little bit of your backstory, who you are, and what you're all about.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Yeah, so I've been in the kind of the knife, industry, the EDC, genre for, I don't know, 15 or so years at least, ever since I was in high school and started carrying a bunch of knives. But I guess about 10 years ago, I really kind of dove in deep and started, modifying knives and buying, kit knives and putting handles on stuff. And then it just kind of kept going and going and going. I eventually started making knives and did that for several years and did, quite a bit of design work on the side for other makers and just a lot of design work for EDC gear in general. So there's a lot of stuff that I've designed that people probably have on their desks and nobody even knew. So that type of stuff. But so I guess about 3 years ago, I kind of pulled back and focused on my regular day job, my career, my family, and kind of left the scene a little bit, and then decided to come back a year ago, but I wanted to do it in a different way. Not focused on really creating stuff with my hands. I just wanted to create content based on all the experience that I've, amassed over the last 15 or 20 years and, working with different people. And then kind of merge that with some of my other skills that I had started to acquire over the last 5 years of doing video editing and some other things like that. So I just thought it'd be a good way to kind of pull it all together and dip my toes back into the scene a little bit. So yeah, kicked off the channel, I guess, in August or so. And so it's been slowly gaining a little bit of momentum.
I love it. Yeah, I was looking earlier today watching your Kapara video, and you're over 500 subs now, right?
It's really close. Yeah, I'm pretty close.
Sweet. Well, hopefully after this, some people who weren't aware of you will be now. I believe if we can make it work, Wes will also be posting this onto his channel after the fact. So his viewers will be able to see it as well. But we are both noobs to going live and streaming and making it all work. So we're figuring out as we go today. But yeah, it's funny. There's a couple of comments about how we are getting packages right now, which I also have quite a few that are in limbo. I have a package from River's Edge Cutlery that shipped on the 2nd and says it was accepted by the post office that day and has not updated one iota since. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are just kind of
it seems to be really regional. Seems to be regional from what I've seen. I don't know if it's specific hubs that are really backed up and stuff's just sitting there, it's some of those big hubs, those distribution hubs. And so I think some of the other distribution hubs that aren't getting hit so hard, things are moving out of there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
a couple of the things I've purchased in the last couple of days. I've also I rarely pay for upgraded shipping, but I've been doing FedEx or UPS or USPS. No, FedEx or UPS, like 2-day shipping, even if it's 12 or $15, just because I don't want to wait and have it.
Yeah, it seems that's the way to go right now is to UPS everything, right? If you want it to get there in a week. So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool.
yeah, I was surprised. I dropped these in the mail on Tuesday, I think. And
Yeah,
I made
these
it
got here. Literally, I think, yeah, you sent it priority mail today, and it was either 2 or 3 days from when you sent it. So
yeah,
crushed it. Apparently the large flat rate boxes do better because this is a big guy. I was not expecting it to be so big. That's what she said. So yeah, would you like to go first, or should I open this box first?
It doesn't matter to me. So
all right, let's see whoever comments first, which one of us should go first. Will that be a good way to decide? I don't know if the comments will lag or not.
Yeah.
Somebody tell us who should go first. I'm waiting. Is no one going to decide for us? This guy says, when's the Malibu coming back? I saw ProTech did a post today, some kind of announcement about more Malibus. I don't know when that'll be, but I'm just glad I've got 2 of them because every time I send one away, which just happened, I still have one to keep me happy, which is good. All right, that seems to pop up. West. All right, we've got a bunch of votes for West.
All right, here we go.
Let's see what you got.
All right, here I'll let me switch my camera up and see what happens here.
Oh, you're way fancier than I am.
All right, I got the Yojimbo today. That's what I'm working on from the Cut Club box.
There you go. That's the all black one.
It's the murdered out one. So just cutting the tape here first.
I had a Yojimbo for a long time, and I had some Putnam, I don't know how you say it, scales on it, and a heat anode, the hardware. It was a pretty sweet knife. But when I had the Cut Club box, I was like, oh, I definitely should have gotten the all black one. It looks so much cooler.
I think that's the one to get for sure.
Yeah, they black out the liners and everything. It's like actually all murdered out. Looks good.
All right. Here we go. Packed very well with what kind of magazines we got here?
U.S. concealed carry, USCCA.
Very nice. The Grand, huh?
Yes, sir.
One of the finalists.
Indeed.
So I had a Biblio, and it was just a little too. It just didn't fit my hands very well. But I've been looking at this one for sure. So yeah, it does finger flip very nice.
Absolutely. Every person that I have sent that knife to, with one exception, has offered me money for it. They've asked me to buy it. Some of them are probably watching right now. And the only person who didn't offer to buy it because he wasn't quite sure about it has since purchased one because he missed it after it left. So it's a knife that just about everybody seems to appreciate when they get their hands on it.
It's very similar to the Biblio for sure. Obviously, Jesper, this one definitely says Jesper. I know that they're, Jesper and Jens, supposedly designed these together, but this one definitely feels, much more Jesper than Jens to me.
I agree.
Same with the Biblio. I love his stuff. I've got quite a few of his knives. And almost all of them have always fit my hands except for the Biblio. It just didn't jive with me, but this one feels about right, really.
Yeah, so. It's a great size knife. I had a buddy who bought one today. I think he got it on the secondary. And he had mentioned he was always worried it was going to be too big, but then recently he got a Demco 8020 and he's been loving it. So he's like, oh, I'll give the Grand a try. And I was like, I don't think the Grand is as big as you think it is. Like, it's a large knife, but it's not way big. It's smaller than a Shaman.
Yeah. Looks great.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what's next.
Use it. Beat up on it. It's a user.
This is the one, huh? I've never handled this.
I'm excited for you to try that one out.
All right. Let's see. It is nice.
Do you have much experience with Protex in general, Wes?
No, I've handled a few of their automatics. I don't own any of them. I've got several Microtechs, but I haven't spent a lot of time with Protex just to look at their build quality or anything. I know that, from what I can see, they're pretty top notch in their execution. So this feels really good. I can see why people really like it. It's the flipper is just about right. It's not too hard, and the detent feels good.
Yeah, I've only played with a handful of different button lock flippers, and almost all of them have had like a pretty mushy sensation in the detent. And the fact that they were able to get that detent so crisp is really impressive to me.
I haven't looked at any disassembly videos to see how it's built, but I'm looking now. So it looks like it's a double detent system.
I think so. I actually haven't pulled it apart, but I trust you if you want to. So you're somebody who's welcome to pull my knives apart, as I've seen your work.
Yeah, it looks like looks like a double detent, which makes sense. Very nice.
Patina Turner says he loves his Mordax. I had a Mordax, loved it, and I only let go of it because the Malibu was on the horizon. I knew it was about to come out, and so I sold that to fund the Malibu. And now I'm thinking I'm going to get another Mordax because I kind of miss it, and I'd like to hunt down one of the titanium ones. I think that would be sweet.
I love this blade shape.
It's pretty cool, right?
It really is. I mean, I'm a big fan of Wharncliffe and sheep's foot blades in general, and so this is really about. I mean, it's very useful, right? And the tip, it's got a decent tip on it too. So
yeah, I've done quite a bit of cutting with that knife, and I haven't found it to be incapable for just about anything that I've thrown at it yet.
Yeah, I like it. And the clip, I know you talk a lot about the clip.
Yep. All the way to the end. It's sunk down into the aluminum, and then they countersink the screws, and they use flat ones instead of button tops. It's one of my absolute favorite clips in the game right now.
I like the lanyard hole, or lack of, for sure.
Totally out of the way.
I mean, you don't even have to see it. So yeah, this looks nice. And it's not very thick either.
Right.
So this is definitely my speed for sure. On it being slimline, I just in general don't like heavy pockets, and I carry rear pocket a lot, right rear pocket. I'm almost always that's where my primary is at. And then if I'm going to carry a smaller one, it's a lot of times it's in my fifth pocket, so it's going to be something small, like the Dragonfly or something like that. A lot of time, or a Ladybug. A lot of times I'll carry a Ladybug in my fifth pocket. But this one is definitely something that I would carry.
I love it. We all know you're carrying the Pochi. You don't have to pretend that's not what's in your pocket.
It is what's in my pocket. Yep. So it's back in the box right now. So I'll be reviewing it soon. But yeah, cool, very nice. So I'm gonna enjoy carrying these and reviewing them for sure. So they'll be. I'm gonna start carrying one of them tomorrow for sure.
Absolutely, put them through their paces, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. Really appreciate it. Very cool.
Should I bust into this one?
Yeah. So the packaging may not be as easy to open.
That's all good. You've been taking notes from Kyle.
I just I had to tape it up real quick at the post office in my truck because I ran out of medium rate boxes there, and so wind was blowing and just crap was flying everywhere. So
I won't judge you. Yeah, when Kyle from DTOM Knives and Gear sent me my Friendsgiving knife, he purposely saran wrapped the crap out of it in this little bundle. And a bunch of people commented, rightfully so, that I had a stack of knives sitting next to me and I like still wrestled with it with my
You're still
hand
falling
for
apart,
minutes on video, and I could have just cut right into it. But that's what makes good TV. Oh shoot, I already know what that is, I think. Goodness, this is a lot of stuff. No, it's just a bag.
Yeah. It's
Wonder
just
Bread?
like packing. Yeah, I use Walmart bags for my packing a lot.
All right, there's just 2 things in here, right?
Just 2 things. You got it. Yeah.
I put stickers in your box, didn't I?
No, but you sent me some last time. So
Oh, that's right. Okay.
yeah, I do have some.
All right, so I'm gonna do the knife first. I think
All right.
that's the better way to go, and then we'll end on the grand finale. I'm doing it again. I'm sitting here with a knife next to me, and I'm wrestling with soft materials that I could just cut. Wes, did you get anything at the factory second sale?
I didn't. I tried multiple times, and I had stuff in my cart, and was trying to go through checkout a couple times, and it would just kick me out, and then I'd be back in, and then it'd be gone. So I just got tired of chasing it. So
I got you.
I mean, there's a couple things I wanted. I wanted to get a PM2 and a PM3 for parts is what I really wanted them for extra liners and pivots. And then I really wanted that knife, that kitchen knife you got. I wanted to try it. And then I had a Maximate Native in my cart that I was trying to pick up. So I think that's probably one of the best deals that they had there was that particular knife. So
For sure. Yeah,
I know you're not a Native fan, but
yeah, I spent hours that morning that it went live trying to check out. And what I ended up with was not what I originally was trying to buy. There were like a couple other things that would sell out while I was finally on the checkout screen. It would boot me. And so then I was like revising my cart over and over. And it was a couple hours of like concentrated trying to get checked out with that stuff. So yeah, it's if you weren't able to really sit and battle through it, then it was kind of unfair.
yeah, I tried, and I was in meetings and stuff off and on. It was just like I couldn't babysit it long enough to check out. So
Yeah, I feel you. So this, I think you sent me a picture of before. This is a Crine knife, right?
yeah, that's called a TK8, TK8 Defender or TK8. So it's
Heck yeah. So I can see already it's in 3V blade steel. My lighting is a little harsh at the moment. Goodness. I just realized while you were talking, I probably should have put you single screen and I didn't, but I'm going to do it selfishly for a second because I just remembered I can. Yeah, this is gorgeous. And these are G10 handles. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. G10. Yep.
This is, I know you told me it was relatively slim, but the handle scales are even slimmer than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. That's 1/8 inch G10. Yeah.
It's great. And it's a nice thick stock.
That's what I asked him to put those on there because I think it carries better.
Yeah.
For me, like if you're going to EDC a fixed blade and you want it to be slim and it's got such thick stock on it as well.
Right.
And he does a really good job just in general with his handles and just the ergonomics of the handle. Like it doesn't have to be super, super thick. So
Right. It's a great edge on it. I love 3V. Well, sweet. Yeah, it looks like this one's from 2018. You said it's the T8. That's the model?
TK8. Yeah.
TK8.
Yeah, that's the way he sometimes he puts names on stuff. When he was doing it before, when he first got started, it was all numbers. It was 1 through whatever. So TK is Tom Crine, and then 8 is I guess that's his 8th knife he came out with. But that one captured my attention for many, many years. And then Tom and I actually became friends, and he did some mentoring for me for making knives. He lives like an hour away, and so he spent some time with me and kind of taught me how to do some knives and helped me build a lot and gave me a lot of tips and showed me some of the ins and outs before a lot of it was, you could watch just YouTube, right? There wasn't a whole lot of YouTube when I first started for knife makers, but yeah, he's a master for sure. Like he's really good at putting edges on it. And you probably probably see a lot of regrinds. You know, you see Tom Crine regrinds a
I've
lot.
seen
So,
a ton of his regrinds on Spyderco's and stuff.
yeah, yep. So he's done a bunch, and there's not a whole lot of.
I agree. That blade shape is dope.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's one of my favorite ones that's his design. Like I said, it captured my attention from the very first time I saw it, maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, and then I finally had him make me one. So,
well, sweet. It's a gorgeous knife.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous knife. So,
all right. So this is the other thing, and it's either a tomahawk steak or it is a tomahawk. But we talked about this as we were DMing, so I'm pretty sure I know exactly what it is, and I am real excited. Heck yes. So this is an RMJ, correct?
Yeah.
And I have not yet experienced an RMJ, but have always wanted to. This sheath setup is crazy. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, there is.
So this is the button that's holding it on. Okay. Am I crazy? No, I pulled back.
It's got to pull the tab on that strap that comes off. So it's a.
So I've got this strap off.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if I was supposed to just yank.
No. It's just that pull the tab on the front. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I lost you for a second.
Am I not coming through on your end?
No, it stalled out for a second. Yeah. You got it off though.
All right. It's out. This thing is crazy. I've been wanting to get a nice tomahawk for a while now. I've got like a cold steel, I think it's the Trench Hawk or something. It's the one with the plastic handles that you can swap out. And it's fun, but I've been wanting to get like a good custom tomahawk. And so I've been thinking about getting a BGM one, or finally getting an RMJ, or there's a lot of really cool ones out there. And then even on the second sale, the thing I wanted most was one of those cool Spyderco tomahawks, because like I don't need one to be great. I'm going to go out and beat on it. I don't need it to be a factory first, but those sold out real quick. I imagine they just didn't have many. This is sweet though. So it looks like it's a natural micarta on the handle scales, and it's got this really nice like grooved texture to it. And then it's numbered, number 22. What steel are these made out of? Do you know?
I'm not. He uses a couple different ones. Let me look real quick. It's usually some sort of high carbon steel.
I gotcha. It's sweet. I really like the machining too. The way it's like ridged. I don't know if the camera will possibly pick it up, but it's like there's like this machined texture, these lines put into it on the grinds. And even the bottom of the beard is sharpened.
Yeah, he does a really good job of his CNC work. Some of it used to be like he would do partial forging and then do final CNC.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Strike, and it's that way before he went full CNC. So, I mean, Ryan's a master too. Like he's really good at CAD and CNC, and he works with special forces and other places too. Like to like build these things just for specific specific things that they want. For breaching or whatever. But that one's more of
Who has a better beard, me or the tomahawk? Probably the tomahawk.
But that one's more of a something that you would use outdoors for sure. And that's why I picked that one up. I would definitely use that one in a camping scenario or backpacking. Some of them have a lot longer handle on them. Like the Strike is let me grab it and I'll show you.
I got you. Yeah, the size of this one, for me, like in my mind's eye, what I would do with a tomahawk is it would be like strapped probably to the outside of my day pack. And so the idea of having one a little bit on the smaller end of the spectrum, I could still chop with this so much more effectively than I could with any of my knives. And it would just be a great tool to have on me. Although I'd probably want, I don't know if I'd want the sharpened edge back here. I'd probably want like a hammer back there or something.
I agree. I would rather have a pole back there too for hammering things in, specifically like for tent stakes or stuff like that. But
exactly.
was a special run that he did. I think 3 or 4 years ago, and what he did was like, it was like a Christmas deal, and he only made like 200 of them, and the prices were much, much lower than his regular runs. And so it was just like a thing for giving back to the community. So that ran a couple $100 less than his normal one. And I actually picked 2 up. I picked one up for me and one for my son. But traditionally I would have bought something with a hammer pole on the back, you know?
Yeah. Well, to save a couple $100, I'd have done the same thing. I'd be fine with this. So that one's a Shrike, you said?
Yeah, this is the Shrike, and it's actually it's a lot smaller. See the head, and this one is one of his first ones that he came out with, and I believe it's got a couple interesting things like this is non-conductive, so that they can like cut electrical lines to houses and things like that and shut off power.
Gnarly.
And it's got this part that unscrews on the bottom, and it's got a little sharpening stone that's stuck in there.
That's sweet.
Yeah. He's done a lot of testing on his edges, and so his heat treat's actually softer than a lot of other ones because these are made to be able to touch up a lot faster. And also a lot of them are made for like chopping into glass too. And you'd end up just chipping the edge or whatever. And so this just rolls, and then you just use these little things to sharpen them up. And so they're easy to sharpen.
It makes sense for the type of tool it is. I feel like it's very different than heat treating a knife because you're expecting it to do a completely different set of tasks.
Yeah. Yeah. So these take a little bit of getting used to, but essentially what I do is I just grab them up here, and put the front in, and then you just like pull down and rotate it out. And that's the best way for it to come out.
I got you. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if I was supposed to like snap it through. Back in.
I just put it up in there like this. Yeah, you got it. And then just roll it out of the front.
I got you. Rad.
Yeah.
Alex's Knives and Such said, how much does the tomahawk weigh, or how heavy is it? This one, do you know the actual weight before I try to be an idiot and guesstimate?
Hold on. Let me look. So that one he's actually worked with. He doesn't make that one anymore, but CRKT makes one. It's called the Rune, just like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that one comes in at 1.5 pounds.
Okay. I would say that sounds about right. It's not crazy heavy, but it's a thick stock. But yeah, it's not like you've got a really thick head like you do on an axe. It's like the same thickness all the way through the piece, and then the micarta doesn't weigh much.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, this would be a total comfortable size and profile and weight for me to like toss on a pack. I feel like that would make a lot of sense.
It was really, and I agree. Like some things are just too big, right? And that one feels just about right. And it actually cuts well. I've done quite a bit of cutting with it. And I prefer having a hatchet on me when I backpack rather than carry a big knife. I would rather carry a smaller knife and a hatchet. And
that makes sense.
You can just do so much more work with a hatchet than you can a big knife. And it's not a huge weight penalty, especially like what you said, if you're putting it on your pack, you don't even notice it. And then you're much lighter around wherever you're traditionally carrying your fixed blade, right? So.
Right. Yeah, part of why, like on my day pack, I keep my BGM pike on the shoulder strap. And part of that is because I love having it there. If I'm ever somewhere where I need to get to it, like in a precarious spot, I climb a lot of sketchy faces and stuff. But the other thing is my pack has waist straps that are like padded. And so if I'm wearing a fixed blade on my hip, it's difficult to position it in a way that it's not in the way of those waist straps. And then getting to it is tough, even if it is there. And so like having it right there makes a lot of sense for me. And by default, it means that unless I'm hiking with a different pack or with no pack, having a big fixed blade on my hip is actually pretty uncomfortable a lot of the time. So yeah, strapping this onto the pack, this isn't something that I'd really want to like grab while hiking. I'd probably take off my pack to do any work with it anyways. So I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of different, like you said, it's got the molly straps there, and there's a bunch of different ways to rig it. I think he's got some videos too on why, like he's a really master at his sheaths too, obviously, like he's really good at them. And so he's done a lot of work on strapping them to backs and molly straps and stuff like that. So, yeah, check him out. Pick up, I mean, if you can find any of his stuff, it's really high quality. So he does a great job. He also
doesn't he kind of do it by drops? Like he'll drop a batch of tomahawks and then they usually sell out pretty quick, don't they?
They sell out pretty quick, yeah. He also does knives. And then I also noticed he's been putting some stuff up on like Blade HQ and a few things like that. They'll get some of his stuff. And then he'll make some like just random things. Like he made some really cool valet trays, right? That were all CNC'd out and had his logo and stuff on it. But he's made all sorts of interesting. He did like these copper bracelets that were all stamped. So he would make these. He would CNC out these really nice stamps. And then, he would stamp the copper and then forge the copper over and make these bracelets. And so that was a thing for a while. Pendants and a whole bunch of other stuff too. Yeah, he's done quite a bit of different things.
Interesting. Well, now that I have one in hand, I want one of his tomahawks. That's for sure. I can't wait to get it out and get it dirty and beat on it a little bit.
It's just completely different than every other thing that you've handled. Traditional tomahawk, and it feels really good in the hand, and they work really well too. So yeah, give it your worst for sure. So I mean, I put a fresh edge on it for you, so it should be sharp.
It's screaming. Yeah, it seems like I could probably shave with the edge that's on it. Sweet, man. Well, it looks like we've actually got quite a few people who hopped on, at least based on the comments. Let's see, there's 27 people viewing right now for my first live. That's not bad, I guess.
Cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Wes,
so
do you have any like plans for your channel people should be aware of? Anything that you're up to right now that you can kind of give a teaser about, or anything you feel like saying to the people we've got on?
Yeah. So right now I've got the Cut Club box and I'm working my way through it. So probably going to have quite a few videos, through the holidays, just focused on these knives so I can move them on. But most of the stuff that I'm going to focus on for the next few months is just review related, right? And so I'm just trying to essentially build up my base, and then probably start working in some other topics as well. I would like to, talk about the industry more, right? And how knives are made, where they're made, what's the process look like when someone wants to go to market with a knife, just some industry things like that. And so those are some of the things I would like to talk about.
K-Bot. Wes is worth following.
Yeah, hey, appreciate it. Yeah, so it's time will tell where it goes, and so right now I'm just trying to build up the channel and get some people interested and figure this whole thing out too, right? Figure out YouTube and get my editing down and get comfortable talking on the camera and all those other things that come along with it for the first 50 or 100 videos or however long it takes to cut your teeth on those. And so it's been interesting. I'm really liking it. Right now I'm posting videos on Monday and Friday, and it's usually just from whatever I decide. So anodizing. So I have an anodizing video out there, and I've done some of it in the past for sure. That's something I like to do, and I'm going to be experimenting more with it, trying to add some additional techniques out there. But again, it's like one of those things. It's like I've got a ton of ideas, but I don't want to like put them all out there right now when the viewers just aren't there, right? It feels like some of that stuff, would get more mileage if I was able to build up my channel a little bit more and then put those things out there, that I think would be a lot more consumable. So right now I'm just, doing reviews, mostly knives, flashlights. I love flashlights too. So I try to weave those in, and just other gear that interests me. I do some watches and things like that. And,
For sure.
but that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Trying to figure out the Instagram game too. So
yeah. I respect your approach. I think it's cool. Your pace obviously is a little different than mine. And my school of thought when I started my channel was like, get as many videos up as I possibly can so that I've got a library, but there's merits to doing it both ways. So yeah, I think there's definitely a method to like letting videos do their thing before you're putting another video up. And there were days when I first started, I was doing 3 or 4 videos, like multiple days in a row each day. And that's a lot for people to take in. But you're off to an awesome start. I mean, you've got a good library at this point. You said you started in August, and you've got flashlight videos, you've got a bunch of knife videos, you've got how-to videos, you've got a good catalog of content up. And you're also getting loaners now, not just from me, like you just unboxed, but I know Jeff has been sending you some things, and looks like you've been getting a lot of stuff lately. So you're off to a killer start.
I've got a pile of backlog for the next couple of months. Easy. I've almost made it through my collection at this point. So I had amassed a pretty good sized collection, and so I've just been reviewing a lot of those things, and I've had a lot of experience with those knives as well. So those were the easy ones, but yeah, the loaners are starting to finally roll in. I don't have to fund it all. They starts getting a little expensive, reviewing a couple of knives a week. So that's been good. And I appreciate, you sending me these, and Jeff from the Cutlery Shop has been great. He's a fantastic guy, and, I like seeing him, help the community out, and he's pretty involved, and he knows a ton too. So he's definitely, invested in the knife community. And I've been buying knives from Jeff for over 10 years from the Cutlery Shop. So I think, the majority of my Spydercos have come from Jeff. And so he's a great guy. Yeah. So that's, I think we have very differing styles. And so I think it's going to be interesting, to be able to share knives back and forth that we both reviewed and have just completely different takes on them, right, and different styles. So I think it's going to mesh well, especially if we have viewers that are crossing over, right, and then they can come see, how I'm a little more focused on how it's executed, right, and how they actually built it and things like that. Numbers, and I know you're not a specs guy, and that's what drives me a lot of times, and so I think it'll be interesting to bounce those ideas, and I think we'll mesh. The channels will mesh well together because of that. So
for sure, for those of you watching as well, Wes sometimes even goes as far as to check hardnesses. You've done legitimate Rockwell testing, right? Is that the right term?
Yeah, I've got a Rockwell tester, and I like to, I'll test my stuff, and if I can get permission, from other people on their loaners, I'll test them. But it's very interesting to me to be able to spot check other companies, right? I think it's important too that people in the community are doing that, and that those companies know that people are doing it. And if we're doing it and posting on YouTube, I think it's a good accountability, right? Because you just never know, right? I mean, I've gotten a few soft knives, and reached out to the manufacturers, and some of them have made it right, and
others
but
haven't.
yeah, I mean, and so I don't like to ding. I like people having a chance to resolve the issues, but some companies, just their QA and QC is just not good, and I think it's important for people to know that and be aware of it. So
yeah, it's a good question from Patina Turner about how destructive the tests are. It really just leaves a tiny dimple, and you can do it where it's going to be hidden, right?
Yeah, all the ones that I do, I disassemble the knife and do it close to the pivot, out of the detent path and out of the bearing path, and where it's going to be covered up by the handles. And so you don't see them at all. It's literally just a little bitty, looks like a little pinhole when it's done. And, I usually will do, if it's mine, I'll do, 2, right? And if it's someone else's, I usually just put 1 in there, but it's good to do it a couple times. Like if it's a low number, I'm definitely going to do 2, right? To make sure that I didn't mess it up. Yeah. If it's close to where I think it probably should be, or the specs, what they said, then I'll just, let it go with that. And so, but I'm putting those in a spreadsheet and making those available, and I'll link those in my video so if people are interested. And what
by all means, do it to both of my knives that I just sent you. Those are both personal keepers. So
yeah, I will. So absolutely. Yeah, I think it's good. Spyderco has been really good with their heat treat, and I know that some knives you hear out there, oh, this particular model or this run was run soft, right? And then is it just 2 or 3 knives that people checked, right? I mean, there's thousands of these things out there, and then all of a sudden, and I don't want to get down a rat hole, but then you see like a secondary market shift on a particular model, right? Yep. Because people are saying, oh, they're running soft now or whatever. So, but I've done checks and mine weren't soft, right? So like those 1 or 2 that got soft, it can like dictate the whole secondary market, and that's all it takes. So
do you follow Alex Steingraber pretty closely?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Alex, I really enjoy his stuff, and he's, me and him are very aligned on, some of our thought processes and too. So I don't know Alex, but I definitely follow him.
He was sharing about how some of the big companies will heat treat large batches of knives, and it can literally be as simple as like where it was placement wise in the oven, because the stuff that's in the center of a giant like C train of knives, basically the size of these ovens, it's going to get heated and cooled differently than stuff that's on the edges where the heat's coming from. And so it's a really interesting thing, stuff that I haven't really thought about much until recently. I'm still just scratching the surface on metallurgy and all of that, the intensity therein. But it's really interesting. Like you said, some knives get a bad rap. Like I have the Benchmade Super Freak, and I heard a ton of horror stories before buying this knife of like, oh, they ran it super soft, it's no good. And I don't have a way to Rockwell test it, so I've just had to go based off of using it. But I haven't had any issues with this M4 at all yet. And it could be that I got a later batch, or it could just be that a few of them weren't right and a lot of them were right. So I like that you're doing independent research, and it's not like the company is sending you samples to test. It's just random knives that are coming to you from the wild. I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Everybody just looks at the hardness numbers, right? And that's not everything, right? It's also about the process. But that's the only thing that we can objectively test, right? We don't know their heat treat process, right? Just the recipe, can affect the way that the steel performs as well. And so it's not all about hardness. And I mean, quite frankly, hardness isn't always, the best thing either, right? It depends on the use of the knife. Like for M4, if it may have been a little bit softer, but it's going to be, it may be 50% tougher.
Right.
I mean, so what, like which one do you like? What are you wanting to do with it?
What's the goal? Yeah.
What's the goal? It's the same thing with 4V, and people say, well, that 4V was run soft, it's only 62 or whatever. Yeah, but it's way tougher now, right? Yeah. And so is edge retention everything? And folders probably.
Although to be fair, if I wanted tougher 4V, I'd get 3V.
I mean, yes, exactly. And I mean, I'm not into like super tough steels on folders, just because I don't use my stuff that way, right? I would much rather have high edge retention, absolutely, on a folder. If I want something tough, I'm gonna reach for a hatchet, right? Or something like that. I'm gonna bring something that's made for the job, where I can get the task done in as quick as possible. I know some people like to do bushcraft and other things like that with their knives, and I think that's cool. And I have a few
to do bushcraft with my knives.
Yeah. I mean,
do it for fun. I'm not actually bushcrafting. I'm just doing bushcrafty type stuff because it's enjoyable, but it's a good time to get out and chop stuff, you know?
it is, I like it. But yeah, for folders, I'm a fan of high edge retention. And, I mean, right now I'm kind of, I think K390 is the sweet spot for me. I've got a pile of Spydercos with K390, and I think for the 10V is great, but it's hard to get, right? Yeah. Rex 45 is also good, but K390's got better edge retention, and they're literally putting that stuff in their production knives now, right? And it's almost as good as 10V, and it's tougher.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the one that I'm recommending to people who are okay with tool steel,
For sure. Yeah, I think most people who are averse to tool steel, once they try tool steel, also tend to come around. And from what I've seen, a lot of people are all about stainlessness, like it's really important to them. But the deeper you get into knives, I think the more you are into maintaining your gear as well, because you're nerdy about them. And so I've never really had rusting issues on pretty much any of my knives. Don't get me wrong, I love Vanex and I talk about it all the time because I think it's super fun to have Vanex and be able to just get it wet in salt water whenever I feel like it, because I can. But yeah, I think a lot of people, as they get deeper into the hobby, stainlessness becomes less and less important, unless it's for very specific tasks. Like if you are somebody who's literally working on a boat or something like that, then yes, stainlessness is more important for you. But for the average guy walking around with a knife in his pocket, opening up packages and stuff, tool steel is so much better in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. They make some really good stainless too, right? I mean, it's like my 3 top are, yes, Vanex. So I haven't got to try any of it actually. So I've almost picked up, a quiet carry, just so I can test it. But
I'll send you my Shark from Alex Steingraber so you can check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. The LC200N, I've got a bunch of it. I think it's a fantastic steel. I think it's highly underrated, and I think people should be using it more, and just EDC knives just in general. But back to my favorite steels, S90V. I think it's a fantastic steel, and it's got it's stainless, and it's got super high edge retention.
Yeah.
And then the other one, of course, is M390 or 20CV or whatever. Like that is, in my opinion, the Goldilocks EDC steel. Like it's
amazing balance.
It's got it all, and it's other stuff outcut it, yeah. But for a regular person, I think it's the steel that we're obviously seeing more and more of it, right? I mean, it's like almost the base model for stuff
Real
now.
common now, yeah.
I mean, it's and which is good because it's going to drive the price down, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago when I was kind of getting into like the Instagram part of the hobby and the minutia of knife collecting, S35VN was literally as prevalent as M390 is right now. And I've said it a ton of times. I'll say it as many as anybody wants to hear it. But M390, I will take 11 times out of 10 over S35VN. And so I love that it's become the new norm. And now S35VN is like basically budget steel. You see it on a lot of knives that are sub $100. And so I think that's a really cool thing to see.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch the evolution of steels and of perception of steels. Like, S30V is still just as good as it was, 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But
I
yet
still like S30V. Just don't call it the best.
No. I mean, it's a great steel, right? And it's interesting that when it starts going in budget knives, then all of a sudden it becomes a budget steel. Right. It's interesting perception shift that happens in the market when those things happen. when some of the Chinese companies start offering that steel, right, then it's like all of a sudden it's, nobody wants it, right? Nobody wants an S30V PM2, right? But they perform great. I think those are some of the things that I like to discuss and think about and watch the industry shift and watch people's perception. And there's just so much marketing hype, too, around things. And it doesn't take too many people, on YouTube saying this or that or the other. And then, everyone just starts parroting it. And then all of a sudden, like that, it's very interesting to watch. So those are some of the things I would like to actually have discussions about. Right. And I don't know, maybe me and you can have some more of these things and like flesh some of this stuff out and make people aware of, how what it was like, right, a couple of years ago. And then you start looking at it objectively and you see, well, this is how all these things have happened. And like, why is this looked at like this now? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we get from point A to point B on something being cream of the crop, awesome, to now no one even wants to touch it anymore?
It's a very interesting thing. So
what's funny too is there's always I find there's usually exceptions for those rules too, of things that like stay in good favor. Like 154 cm you see on customs all the time still, and no one seems to be upset about that. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's still a good steel. But 154 cm, much like several of the steels we just named, is like pretty antiquated in terms of its abilities, but there's a lot of reasons why custom makers like working with it. It's a good material for them to use. And so it's just funny to see like D2 is unacceptable on a knife that's expensive now. And I think it should be, but 154 cm gets like a hall pass for some reason. And I get a kick out of the way it's all kind of shaken down over time.
Yeah, there's still a lot of makers, that people respect that will stand up behind, 154 cm or CPM 154. CPM 154 is very much superior than 154 cm.
Right.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is it's cheap and super easy to finish. And that's why custom makers like to use it. And
a lot of custom knife owners, if they're being honest with themselves, don't plan on cutting with it anyways. So they'll take that mirror polish in 154 over Stonewash in S90V, Patina Turner, that's a good question. I keep meaning to try it. They call it Teravantium, which is just their in-house made up word for it. Wes, have you had any experience with that steel yet?
I have not used it. No.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. Their knives are just a little expensive. I haven't picked one up yet, but I plan on it. I'd like to get one of them soon. I think they look cool, and it's an interesting idea. So I'd like to see how it performs.
Yeah, I was looking at the carbide knives, specifically the ones from Sandrin.
We were talking about those yesterday in the Millie Club.
Yeah, that new Torino that rolled out that looks, I don't even know how to describe it.
Like it's inside out.
It does appear to be inside out,
and it's got a spark lock basically.
It's a very interesting thing. They've they obviously listened to some other people's and some reviews, and they've implemented a lot of interesting things on that knife that make it very practical, right? And those things appeal to me, and it looks like it would be like almost the supreme box cutter knife, right? So I'm probably going to pick one up and try it out and see what I think, but I'm a little hesitant on the ergonomics.
I think I'll let you be the guinea pig on that one. It's a little too out there for me, but if I keep hearing good things about it, so far, the only good things I've heard about it have been from people who got it like right away, and so right away that I kind of suspect that they got it sent to them directly from the manufacturer, which isn't a bad thing. I've had manufacturers send me knives as well. I'm not trying to harp on that, but I haven't seen any like reviews yet or testing. I've just seen like Instagram posts, and so I think a lot of people are flocking to it because some of the tastemakers are posting about it, but I'd like to see a review, a proper, like, I've used this is how it performed type of review, and then maybe if it shakes out, then I'll get one.
Yeah, it's I try, it's not very tough, right? You have to be very careful with them. And
Okay.
I started following his channel today. So I know
Lefty?
he's yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Kevin is one of my best buddies in the knife realm. So he'll get snarky with you, but he's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like people with opinions.
Yep. Yeah, he's just going to tell you all your right-handed knives are wrong and that they should have built them for lefties.
I mean, that's a thing that I look at a lot. I'm right-handed, but I'll use a knife in my left hand, and I think it's important that people review, knives that have, if they're going to be using the left. There's not a ton of left-handed knives out there,
Right.
or ones that are ambidextrous. I mean, there's some good ones out there, obviously, that are, backlocks and the Benchmades with the Axis lock, or
I should talk about it more because I literally, I'm left-handed for writing, for shooting, for eating. On my phone, I'm left-handed. Like I'm left-handed when it on paper because I write left-handed, right? But I play most sports right-handed, and I typically use my knives right-handed. I carry my primary front right pocket, and that's where I go muscle memory-wise. But I do find myself a lot passing my knife to my left hand to use it, and if I use a kitchen knife in the kitchen, it's always in my left hand. For some reason, food prep, I do left-handed. Maybe because it's fine motor skills. I don't know. But as much as I use knives in my left hand, I rarely even talk about it. So I probably should more. But I'll feel like I'm succumbing to Kevin's wishes if I do that. So I'm resistant.
Yeah, I'm not that great at opening knives left-handed, but I definitely try, right? And try to feel like what it is to, there's another one. Yeah. Try to flick things open, try to close the lock. Right. And I think that's the worst thing, right? Is just getting in there, especially like liner locks, if they don't make a cutout in there very well, it's really tough to, at least for me, get in there and close something left-handed. So I think it's, I don't think enough people talk about it or design things around left-handed enough.
Yeah, it's worth being in the conversation for sure. And cool, man. Well, sweet. We've gone about an hour. I don't know about you, but I didn't plan on doing that.
Oh, I thought we were going to be opening it up. So I'm super excited to carry both of these. So I'm gonna put one of them in my pocket tomorrow. It's gonna be hard to decide, to tell you the truth. So
I'm gonna put both of these in my pocket too.
You should. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely use them and let me know what you think. And I think you're gonna like that hatchet. And
I'm confident I will.
Yeah. So I liked it a lot. I mean, it's just the feel of it in your hand. It feels great. So
absolutely,
you're gonna end up buying some more of his stuff, I think.
Yeah. Well, sweet, man. So for those of you who are on now who didn't catch the very beginning, once I push this video to my page, I'll figure out how to make sure that Wes is linked, and he'll be putting it on his page as well. But Wes can be found at The Pocket Perspective, both on YouTube and on Instagram. That's your name over there as well.
Got it.
So yeah, look for Wes's channel. Absolutely worth following. Like he said, we have a very different approach to reviewing knives. And that's part of why I've really liked starting to have conversations with Wes. We just talked for the first time like a month ago or something. We met in the Millie PM2 Para 3 Club. And I watch his videos a lot because they're so different from mine. And he's very methodical. And I am very disorganized and shoot from the hip. And so the fact that he takes the time to go over the concrete things that make a knife what it is, I think is a really good thing. And so I want to encourage more people to, if you're into watching my channel, that's great. Love having you. Fantastic. But Wes's perspective is different and in good ways. So he's someone worth watching as well. So really appreciate you coming on with me, Wes. It's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. This was great. So I'm glad we were able to make it work. And I think it was a great first live. So
I hope so. It was fun nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'll plan on starting to do lives more often on my channel. Wes and I will probably hop on some more together every now and then. And I also, if those of you are still watching at the end of this, I will be starting a podcast soon, which I'll post to the channel, and we'll go in typical podcast format as well. So that's part of why I recently got the mic that's here, and I upgraded my webcam and all that. And so that will be happening. And Wes, I hope you'll let me have you as a guest one of these days.
I'd love to be on. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, sweet. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Thank you, everybody who watched. This has been fun. Again, Wes's channel is at The Pocket Perspective, and absolutely someone worth checking out. If you haven't seen his channel yet, he's growing and doing awesome things. So we will see you all on the next one, I suppose. Thanks, guys.
Everyone. See ya.